1981. During World War II, he commanded the army in North Africa, and in 1944 led the 12th Army Group in France and Germany, which consisted of 1 million men in 4 armies. In 1950, he became the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Omar Bradley stated, "We have grasped the mystery of the atom and rejected the Sermon on the Mount. The world has achieved brilliance without conscience. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants."
This has been an American Minute with Bill Federer. For a free transcript, call American Minute at 1-888-USA-WORD.
VCY America presents Crosstalk, a nationwide call-in program discussing issues that have an effect on our families, our communities, our churches, our nation, and our world. Crosstalk, an opportunity for you to voice your concerns for biblical principles. And now live by satellite and around the world on the internet at vcyamerica.org. Here is today's Crosstalk.
And friends, thank you for joining us on Crosstalk today. As we approached last evening, the clock was ticking toward the deadline. Yes, it was toward the deadline that President Trump issued to Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or to face strikes on its infrastructure. We're talking power grids. We're talking their bridges. Iranian state media showed footage, civilians forming a human chain in front of one of their plants. And as the deadline approached, President Trump then agreed to hold off on the barrage of attacks and have a temporary 2-week ceasefire as the straits would open back up. Well, according to reports, a 10-point plan offered by Iran was a workable base, President Trump said, from which to negotiate. He said almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran. He said a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. Israel said, okay, we'll hold off, we'll abide by this ceasefire, but the ceasefire, they said, will not include their battle against Hezbollah, to their enemy to the north. In Lebanon. Well, now, just hours after the Strait of Hormuz opened, Iran has announced this afternoon it has closed the Strait of Hormuz once again in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. President Trump calling this unacceptable. Joining us today, we do welcome Usama Dakdak, founder of the Straightway of Grace Ministry. He's a speaker on revealing the truth about Islam. He is founder of the Straightway of Grace Ministry. He is also does speak fluent Arabic, has translated the Quran into English, the author of Exposing the Truth About the Quran, Exposing the Truth About Jihad, and the booklets The Violent Truth About Islam and the Straight Way to Eternal Life. Usama, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Brother Jim. It's always my joy to be with you and all our wonderful audience.
And friends, I do want to say at the outset, Shahram Hadian had been promoted to be with us today, but he is having to reschedule. We'll seek to connect with him next week. But Usama, you've been keeping a very, very close eye, up to date on news taking place in the Middle East. You know Islam through and through. And just want you to give us your perspective on what's taking place. Do you believe that the United States is being played by Iran? What's your perspective of the matters that have been unfolding?
Well, if we can know what is in the mind and in the knowledge of Mr. Donald Trump, we can say yes or no, but we do not know. Mr. Trump is a very complicated president. He is not a simple man to speak his mind and to tell the American people what he knows. Therefore, he will always surprise the liberals, the media, and even the world. Mm-hmm. So, but from just seeing what's happening yesterday around 8 o'clock, and I know what Allah teaches the Muslim in the Quran. It's very clear. Quran 47:35. Do not be weak and do not call for peace when you have the upper hand. When they made the statement or the comment that, okay, we'll talk. It's like making a peace step. They're moving towards, and let's stop this fight. Let's stop this war. They're weak. So in reality, they're weak. Now, if you listen to the media in America, the liberal media, and you listen to the liberals around the world, oh, they won. They're weak. They're strong. In their hearts, Brother Jim, this is not just the people of Iran. This is the same thing the people of Gaza. If you killed 10,000 Gazans and the Gazans killed one American, they call it a victory. Somehow they shout, Allahu Akbar, we killed one. I mean, look how much damage Mr. Trump did to Iran in the last few hours, the last few weeks. It is lost. But to the liberal media, no, Trump is losing because it doesn't matter what Trump will do. It doesn't matter what Trump says. He's wrong, and we're losing, and we need to get rid of him. Literally, if you give them the options, say, let's get rid of him. And to the Muslims, they listen to that. They say, oh, they're weak and we're strong. But at the same time, they're facing the reality. That man was about to annihilate them from the face of the earth. And I said yesterday on another broadcast with Brennan House, he's bluffing. But you know what? He knows more than what we know, and we have no clue what's happening.
Yeah.
But Muslims to have peace with us, it will always be temporary peace. It may be these 2 weeks, but not the third week. And they're already playing games and closing the Hormuz Strait again. That's like, I don't know what they have in their mind.
Well, Usama, we're going to look at this 10-point peace plan that was brokered by Pakistan. But years ago, there was a man by the name of Fred Schwartz, and he wrote a book, You Can Trust the Communists to Be Communists. Usama, you know Islam. Is that also true about Islam? You can trust the followers of Islam to be Islamists?
Yeah, of course. You cannot trust the Muslims for a second, as Muslims do not trust their Allah in a second. A Muslim, you trust them as Muslim if you know Islam. But the problem, most liberals and most people of the West do not know Islam. In Islam, one of their doctrines, it is okay to lie to the enemy at the time of war. Guess what we have right now with Iran? We are in war with Iran. It's a time of war, and Muslims can lie. So they are doing that just to stop the fight for 2 weeks. Oh, 2 weeks is good enough to get some weapons from other countries or to stack their strength to get a little bit stronger so they can do something else like they have been doing in the last few weeks or last few years, as a matter of fact. So I don't trust the Muslims for even a minute. Not a day, for a minute.
Didn't we see that from Hamas? I mean, Hamas, we want a ceasefire, but they would regroup. They would, increase their stockpiles of weapons and prepare for their next battle. It was just a delay tactic. Is that what you see perhaps taking place?
Brother Jim, the Quran is very clear. If Muslims are in war and they stop war or back off or give their back to their enemy, run away, the hell of eternity is beset to them. So Muslims who are performing jihad, if they stop the war, except for technicality, Allah teaches in the Quran that if you are making technique that you pretend to run away to draw the enemy behind you and then turn back and you trick them, that is the only time for Muslims to stop. Because if Muslims stop jihad, if Muslims stop killing, they will end being in hell forever. And so Muslims will never submit at the time of war. If they make cease of fighting, it's very simple. It's always limited with time. When Muhammad said the first peace agreement he had with the people of Quraysh, with Bani Quraysh, he made it for 10 years, and he broke it within 5.5 years, not even 6 years, because he got enough men and he got enough weapons to come back and take over the city of Mecca. This is the history of Islam. They have been taught that by Muhammad, the Sunnah of Islam. What Muhammad does is what Muslim must do. You don't make real peace. You make temporary peace. 2 weeks, 5 years, 7 years, and then he asks the question. So what's going to happen in the following day of the end of the time period of stop fighting, and we go back to fight? This is when Obama did 10 years deal with Iran. I said, what's going to happen in the 11th year? If they even honor the 10 years, they never honor the 10 years agreement, and their uranium will continue to make the uranium-248, whatever the number of it. So they will continue to make their bomb even during the 10 years, and the 10 years is over. So now, face the reality. We will never have peace with Muslims, and if they make peace, it's simply because they're weak to temporary peace until they have the upper hand, and they'll continue to fight.
I mean, we already saw from Iran. I mean, that was never disclosed. Nobody knew. It was believed that they did not have the mid-range missiles, and yet they did, and find that they can hit many, many targets with their middle-range missiles. And yet that was kept from the peoples of the world, and we're seeing that Iran had capabilities that nobody knew they had.
And Brother Jim, I believe European knows they have it, and the evidence of that, they did not allow us even to fuel our airplanes in their airport or use their airport. I believe European country, all of them are afraid of the Iranians, and all of them are somehow in submission to make peace with the Iranian. And believe it or not, deep in my heart, if we allow them to go back, I'm talking about European country, to the Hormuz Center Street, and they can go and get their oil from there, they will allow the jihadi of Iran, the Khomeini relatives, the Khomeini followers, the companion of the Khomeini, to be in control of Iran once again like nothing happened. So all what we have done will be waste if we will allow the people of Europe to take care of themselves and get their oil from Iran through the Hormuz Street. And it's not going to be good. It's going to be real bad. It's like kicking the can for another generation, for another president. Mm-hmm. And believe me, we will not have another Trump in America. So if they could not get this job done right now, it will never be done.
This is 47 years it's been going on under the Ayatollahs, and it is something that has been mass mayhem. We have seen not only the threats consistently against Israel and against the U.S., the Israel being the little Satan, the United States being the big Satan. We have seen the threats constantly to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, death to Israel, death to America. That has been the last 47 years, Usama.
And the media will deny that. They say, you are making this up. I mean, I listened by my own ears for some of the smart, intelligent speakers on CNN and CBN and MSNBC. I mean, these people have literally denied. They said, Trump said that, but they never said it. I mean, I heard it in Egypt 35 years ago. Al-Mautu America, Al-Mautu Israel. That is, death to America and death to Israel. I did not hear that from Mr. Trump. I did not hear it from American TV. I literally heard it in our TVs in Egypt, and I heard it from the mosques of Egypt. These are the Sunni who have no problem to join hands with the Shiites, as we have seen, even in the midst of all that. Egypt are not taking a stand with us, America, but they are like holding the stick in the middle, or they're actually standing with the Iranians. So it's a mess. It's simply a pure mess.
And that mindset of Islam, and we're going to talk about that peace plan right into our next segment here, but that whole attitude of Islam, we're seeing that here on American soil as well, Usama. The Jihad Watch reported recently about these anti-American protesters in Philadelphia, and they're cheering, and they're cheering for the destruction of our U.S. bases and cheering for fallen U.S. soldiers.
Brother Jim, I learned that lesson from my own personal experience. If it was not for the liberal Christian church in America, there would not be one Muslim to protest my meeting. In everywhere I spoke in America, and there were protesters outside my school meeting or my church meeting or college meeting. It was simply led by some liberal Christians who were supporting the Muslims. If it was not for the liberals and the wicked, ungodly gay and lesbian churches of America, I would have never seen protests. And the media in America are standing with the Muslims. And the liberals in America are standing with the Muslims. When we are not united, the Muslims have a great chance to take that golden opportunity. When they hear the liberal media speaking against Mr. Trump and we're divided, yes, the Muslims will stand and make riots and do all that what they're doing. If we have been united in the last few months in America, you would have never heard of one protest by Muslims or anybody. But we are, the liberal in America, helping the Muslims to stand up, to do the protest, to speak against America, to burn the flag of the United States of America, to stand up with the Palestinians, and stand up with the Iranians, stand up with our enemy, simply because they hate Mr. Trump. And because they hate Mr. Trump, Muslims have a great window, big green flag. Do whatever you want to this country. We're standing with you to support you to take that president down, to destroy his party. We are going to win the midterm election, and next term, in the big election, we're going to win the White House, and we'll bring Muslims to America in the millions. That's exactly how I see the relationship between the Muslims and the liberals of America.
We're talking with Usama Dakdak today. Friends, when we come back, we're going to read through that 10-point plan submitted by Iran by way of Pakistan to the White House. You'll hear for yourself the various points in that. We'll be back in a minute. This is Crosstalk.
Back to Genesis with Dr. John Morris, geologist and president of the Institute for Creation Research. Dr. Morris, when did the Ice Age happen?
Chris, the Bible doesn't mention the Ice Age by name, but it probably occurred in the several hundred years following the flood as an after effect of the flood. The waters then were probably much warmer than today and would have easily evaporated, pumping great volumes of moisture up into the atmosphere, where it would then condense and fall as snow. The snow continued to build up and packed into ice, which then could flow south. But it certainly didn't cover the entire globe. This would have been happening up through the time of Abraham. Job lived about the time of Abraham, and in the book of Job, ice and snow are mentioned more times than in any other book in the Bible. Job lived in a warm area, but he knew about the ice up in Europe. The Ice Age would have continued until the oceans gave up their excess heat, and that all happened back in Genesis.
For more information, you can find us on the web at www.icr.org.
You're listening to Crosstalk on VCY America, and peace, and I have that in quotes, in the Middle East, is that jeopardized? I see Lieutenant Colonel McGinnis is saying that the Iran ceasefire calms the moment, but the real conflict is still brewing ahead. We're talking with Usama Daktak today from the Straightway of Grace Ministry, his website, thestraightway.org, thestraightway.org. Usama, Pakistan has been kind of a mediator in this as well, facilitating a negotiated settlement of the conflict, and they submitted to the White House a 10-point peace plan that was submitted by Iran. And I'd like to just read the 10 sentences quickly, and so we can hear it all in its context. We can come back and comment on it. But here is Iran's 10-point peace plan. Number 1, guarantee that Iran will not be attacked again. Number 2, permanent end to the war, not just a ceasefire. 3, end to Israeli strikes in Lebanon. 4, lifting of all U.S. sanctions on Iran. 5, end to all regional fighting against Iranian allies. 6, Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. 7, Iran would impose a $2 million fee per ship transiting Hormuz. 8, Iran would split these fees with Oman. 9, Iran would establish rules for safe passage through Hormuz. And 10, Iran would use Hormuz fees for reconstruction instead of reparations. This is a 10-point plan, Usama, and again, you heard the statement from the president that I gave in the opening to the program today, saying, well, it's a workable base. He said almost all the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the U.S. and Iran. A 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. I'm not sure which of these points anyone could really agree on. Could the U.S. agree to these 10?
Yeah, my question to you, who is submitting to who? Are we submitting to Iran or Iran submitting to us? I mean, it seemed to me like they have been winning the last few compact or the last few battles, and now we are submitting to them to give us whatever they want. I mean, literally, if we take these 10 one by one, it is telling us, back off, we are winning, we're victorious, and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do that. Of course, that does not make any sense. To tell me that these are, I don't know. Maybe Trump have a magic trick. He can take each and every one of these and turn them against Iran. Because to me, hearing them from you right now, it seems to me like we lost the war, and they are telling us what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you say here a guarantee that Iran will not be attacked again, how can you make such a guarantee?
Because they won, and we lost, and we're walking away from the war. That is what they have in mind, Brother Jim.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think Mr. Trump should return these 10 by another 10 and say, okay, forget about the 2 weeks. I'm going to give you 2 hours. Literally. If Trump is, first of all, Brother, you know my heart about that war. I am against the war from the beginning, because even if we did everything we can to annihilate that country, it will not be a Christian country. It will not be a peaceful country. It will be Iraq, number 2. Iraq used to be so strong economically and everything, and now Iraq is not even a village for a camel to live in. So it is gone. Iran can be the same thing. But for the idea to allow them to come up with these rules and this 10 point for us to sign up, we're not going to go on war against them again, which means what? They can do whatever they want because they don't keep their side of the deal. You know, I can say if they will give up their nuclear and allow the people of Iran to take freedom and that 80% of the Irani can control their country, no longer the 20 or less than 20% of Khomeini followers, then yeah, you know what? We're not going to fight you again. But guess what? They're going to control the country in much worse scenarios than it used to be under Khomeini, Ali Khomeini. And at the same time, we are going to sign. We're not going to go on war against them again. So why we're stopping the battle right now? We should continue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're seeing also Newsmax, and sometimes I wonder even who's got the right 10-point peace plan, because Newsmax is also talking about other points in this plan: full withdrawal of U.S. forces from the Middle East, establishment of a secure maritime transit protocol, lifting of all U.S. primary and secondary sanctions, release of frozen Iranian financial assets abroad, compensation or reconstruction funding for war damages, guarantee that Iran will not face further military actions, end to Israeli strikes in Hezbollah in Lebanon, regional de-escalation measures involving allied militias, reopening the Strait of Hormuz under Iranian military coordination, immediate end to war against all elements of Iran's axis of resistance. And so, again, some of these are variations of the same points, but I'm not sure who's holding the ledger in all of this.
I know the difference, Brother Jim. The first 10 written by Iran, the second 10 written by the Democrats of the United States of America. That is the only differences, because that is the agenda of the Democrats. Let's make fun of Trump. Let's laugh at Trump. Let's say and prove to the world that he is a big loser, so we can win the White House in the mid-trib election, and we win the White House in 28 and kiss the Republican Party goodbye for good. Because I promise you, Brother Jim, if they can steal or take away the midterm election, and if they can take the White House in 28, you will never see a Republican near the White House, not in the White House, but near it. Because that will be the end of the existence of the United States of America. And I guarantee you, the Democrats will sign these 10, which I believe it's exactly fit with their with the way of thinking, with their agenda for the future of Iran or the future of America in the Middle East. They would love to bring the Irani to America, to take over America.
The president used very, very strong language, and many question his talking about, and very concerned about taking out, a whole civilization of people who would, a civilization that would never once again happen. There's been talk even then on the Democratic side saying, hey, he's talking about wiping out a civilization here and saying we need to invoke the 25th Amendment against him to remove him from office. They said this man's crazy.
Brother Jim, didn't this exactly what Hillary Clinton said when she was running against Mr. Trump first term? I mean, what is so hard for the Democrat to watch some videos given by some speeches and videos given by their own best of their Democrat, Hillary Clinton? She said the same thing. And by the way, it's not just her, the previous 6 presidents said the same thing. But not one of them took walk a foot into the land of Iran to do anything about it. So it was cheap talk. And Iran think Obama, like Clinton, like Bush, like Trump. No, Trump is not the same. Trump does not. I mean, he bluffs, yeah, but he does also do weird stuff. So I will not be surprised that within the next hour you will see Trump doing exactly what he said he's going to do 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago, which is the break hour was 8 o'clock last night. Mm-hmm. So, but when the Democrats reject what Trump says, they need to stop for a minute. Listen, did any Democrat say that? They make a big deal about Mr. Trump used the F word. Well, guess what? Obama used the F word with Biden in the most important honorable speech, which he gave once a year in for the House and the Congress and the Senate. What do you call this? The
Congress. The Congress there.
Yeah. So if Obama can use the F word and everybody laugh and they don't talk about it, why do they make a big deal? Yeah. Mr. Trump was talking the same language which the people of Iran is speaking. So this is a technique. I don't appreciate our president use the force.
I object to it.
They have been using.
Yeah, I do, and I object personally to that language as well, Usama. It's not called for it, but this is something that certainly is heating up again, and you're anticipating that strikes may happen if that strait remains closed.
Of course, because the reason he stopped what he was supposed to do last night, because that this Hormuz Strait will be open and business will move on. But now they're talking like they really have won the war. And when in reality, they killed few soldiers. We destroyed their country. And believe it or not, few more days of Trump work, you will never see Iran again. It will be Iraq number 2, which I don't think will happen. I personally don't believe this will happen because the scripture is very clear. There will be a war coming up between Iran and Israel, and Iran will go against Israel. You know, Brother Jim, for years, in the wars we have with Israel, 1948 and 67 and 73, Iran was friends with Israel. And people thought these are the final wars. And I say, no, it's not. And I learned why. Because Iran is supposed to be in war against Israel. But the country Iran, was neither Iran or Turkey. They never got involved in these 3 wars, the major wars Arab Muslims have against Israel. But in the end time, I see Iran and Turkey will be fighting against Israel. And that gave me the belief that Iran will not be destroyed. So the idea that Iran will be destroyed by America, no. I think America will be destroyed by God Almighty when the liberals control America as they turn their back against Israel. And that's when you see America be literally slowly taken away from the picture of the world power. And that's when you see Iran, Turkey, and Russia, and whatever other Muslim country are going to be in war against Israel, because what is written must be fulfilled. These prophecies were written, and they must be fulfilled.
So, bottom line, Israel will stand.
Well, Israel will stand in the end after you lose a lot of people. I mean, I know a big chunk of the Jewish people are going to be destroyed. Obviously, it's going to be lost. But Israel will be there. And the dream of the Muslims to wipe out Israel from the face of the earth is not going to happen. And that proves that Muhammad is not a true prophet. Muhammad taught them that the day of judgment will not come until the Muslims kill the last Jew. No, there will be hundreds of thousands, millions of Jews alive when Jesus comes back. And that goes against the replacement theology and all the false teaching, which now is growing worldwide among all the churches even. Sadly, the churches believe that God's people are no longer God's people. And the promise of God has been canceled or abrogated. No, you can find that for Allah in the Quran, not in the God of the Bible. Israel will be there, and the Lord Jesus Christ will fight for them after they will be alone. America will not support them. And that gave me the feeling, yes, America will not be a strong country, and it will be controlled by the liberals who would like nothing to do but to turn their back against Israel.
Usama, as you know, the IRGC has killed tens of thousands of Iranians, those who would protest or those who they believed were anti-government, anti-regime. I didn't see that in part of this peace plan, that they were going to stop turning their weapons on their own citizens. Do we know if that is still taking place?
I believe the opposite is going to be true. If they have already killed over 50,000, they're going to kill another 500,000 just to teach these people, their own people, a good listen. Don't you dare raise your head against me again. So if you think the killing of 50,000 was bad, I'm expecting much more will be killed by the hand of the Iranian Khomeini mullah followers and companion and these people who think they won the war so far. And I believe all this is because the liberals of America care less about the freedom of 80%. You're talking about almost 75 plus million people of Iran who suffer, like you just said, thousands of people, their own people killed.
Yes.
And the people of America, the liberals of America, don't care about these people's life or their future. Sadly, that's how it's not going to be a great victory for these people who are fighting for their freedom for literally, as you said, since 1979.
Right, under the Carter administration, in which the Shah was pushed out by the Carter administration, the Ayatollah regime coming in. Usama Dakdak, our guest here today on Crosstalk. And friends, we've got just a couple more questions, and then we'll be opening some phone lines as well. So be ready to formulate your question, or we'll give time for a brief comment, a minute or less, to get your point made. But we'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Crosstalk.
The Bible follows the rise and fall of kingdoms and governments, covers millennia of ancient history, and reveals God's plan for humanity through powerful accounts that still speak today. In the hardcover book, Charting the Bible Chronologically, authors Tommy Ice and Ed Heinzen team up to provide readers a panoramic view of the events recorded in Scripture, all laid out in chronological order. This book takes you from the words "in the beginning" all the way to the New Jerusalem. With 40-plus color charts, you will see timelines of biblical history, pre-flood genealogy, Israel, overviews of major empires, the life of Christ, God's judgments, and a master fold-out chart of the entire Bible. It's a vital resource for new believers and Bible scholars alike. Charting the Bible Chronologically. Available for a donation of $30 or more to VCY. Call 1-800-729-9829.
This is Crosstalk on VCY America. Usama Dakdak with us today here on the program, and we are talking about the so-called peace in the Middle East being jeopardized, and we are certainly breaking down a lot of the information for you here today on the program. Usama, one of the parts of this peace plan as well deals with Hezbollah, and I'm going to have you address this as well, because yesterday Israel said, okay, we'll honor the ceasefire against Iran, but that does not mean we're going to stop against Hezbollah, because Hezbollah has been firing missiles into to Israel. Israel has responded in like manner and trying to wipe out Hezbollah, another group here. And I'd like you to comment on Hezbollah, because Iran is saying, well, you can't shoot at them either, but isn't Hezbollah also Iran?
Well, let me ask. Of course, Hezbollah is the son of the old man who is wounded so badly, bleeding to death in Iran. Why do you think Israel will attack Hezbollah? Except Hezbollah is doing attack against Israel. Israel never started war. 1948, 67, 73. This is the three major ones. Started with the Muslim, Egyptian, Jordanian, and Syrian. And every other battle against Israel starts by the Muslims. Start by the Arabs. It was never Israel started any battle. So why do you say, oh, don't you dare touch Hezbollah? Because Hezbollah, your son, is going to do your dirty work for you against Israel. And I would say no, absolutely not. If Hezbollah ever launched one rocket against Israel, Israel have the right to defend itself and wipe out whatever location that rocket came from. And by the way, Brother Jim, there's huge difference between how Hezbollah does their dirty work and how Israel retaliates. Hezbollah sent rockets without warning. They sent rockets, plural, to harm a civilian, innocent Jewish people. Israel sent the warning, I'm going to be launching that area where the rocket came from, and get out of it if you want to save your life. And then they send their attack in retaliation. And I would say no, absolutely. No such a thing. You don't shoot rockets or don't bomb the daylight out Hezbollah in Lebanon, as long as Hezbollah does not behave themselves. If they will not behave themselves, I guarantee you, Israel have no right, and they will not do anything. But no, they want to make a deal that you cannot do any war in Lebanon for Hezbollah. At the same time, Hezbollah, they can do whatever they do to you. I'm sorry, that does not make any sense.
Friends, our phone number to Crosstalk, 800-733-9829. If you'd like to ask a question of Usama Dakdak, or if you have a brief comment, again, by brief, I'm saying a minute or less, so that we can accommodate other callers as well. Our number, 800-733-9829. Usama, reports also coming out that China and Russia helping Iran. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe this airplane was taken down last week. It was taken down because the weapon which came to them, I believe, from Russia. And I'm amazed that during the war between Ukraine and Russia, Russia said, we cannot send any weapon to help the Ukrainians to do their work and have victory against Russia. And somehow the whole world look at us like we are doing the wrong thing. But right now, right now, Russia is helping Iran because obviously, you know that you scratch my back and I scratch your back. I'm getting your oil and you're getting my weapon. And that is why you will see that Russia and China, and by the way, all Europe, are not taking part to help us, America, to have victory in that battle. So it's like America standing alone. And I am not for that war, Brother Jim. And I say it again, I'm not for any war about killing anybody because it's a spiritual warfare between the Muslims and the West, between the Muslims and America and Israel. It will not be won with bullets unless we're planning to wipe out not just Iran, but the rest of the Muslim world. You're talking about wiping out 1.8 billion Muslims from the face of the earth. That's not biblical, that's not Christian way of life, and that's not logical. It will never happen. Not from the day Thomas Jefferson, when he started war against 5 Muslim countries, and he quit it after 5 years of war, not even under Trump in the White House. He will not go in war with every Muslim country around the world because they're all, even the one who pretend to be with us right now because they're afraid of Iran, but after Iran is gone, they will be our enemy. If it is Saudi or Dubai or Bahrain or whatever, any Muslim, Shia, Sunni, makes no difference. Muslims are Muslims. So I see this is a problem. It will not end except with prayer. Maybe the church, maybe the Christian need to pray that God intervene and bring somehow stop for this crazy madness, which could be very bad in any hour, in any minute.
Friends, our phone number to Crosstalk, 800-733-9829. We have Sally calling from Nebraska. Sally, you're on the air.
Hello. I am so thankful for Usama Dakta and Aaron Lavarco today in setting the people straight of America that are having a meltdown. We have to remember that the Iranian people have been in internet darkness for 38 days, and they have not been able to communicate to the American people about how happy they are to be being liberated from 47 years of terror. And so we, the average American does not know how happy they are. And I'm rejoicing with the Iranian people on their liberation and hopefully being able to hear from them to our country. But
thank you,
we
Sally.
should not take the... another thing is the Pakistani terrorist groups are coming into Iran right now.
Okay.
And so they came up with this 10-part thing, and Trump did not sign it or agree to it.
No, that's correct.
It said they would work with the framework of...
Thank you, Sally. We're out of time here for the call. Usama, your comment.
And the sad thing, Brother Jim, not only the American people do not know how much the Iranian people are celebrating the work of our country and Israel in their own country, but even how many, we're talking about over 80% of that country are being abused by less than 20%. It is literally, it is amazing that how can you put power in the hand of few to control the entire country?
Yeah. And we've heard from some, Usama, as well, that have had opportunity to get the gospel into Iran, that they've had more freedom than ever before to get the gospel to Iranian people. And we need to be praying. We need to pray that there be many that come to faith in Christ, that they be turned from darkness to light amidst all this turmoil that's going on.
Brother Jim, the internet is a great key for the people of the Muslim world to learn the truth about Islam.
Yeah.
And if they will continue to live in the darkness of Islam without the light of the gospel, they will never come out of Islam. And because of that, I cannot wait to see them have access to the internet, not only for us to know about how thankful they are for what has been done, which is the opposite of the story, which is the liberal try to show to the American people, but even for the truth of the gospel to go into their homes once again.
Yeah. We've got Paul, our next caller. Hi, Paul. You're on the air.
Hello, yes. Jim and Usama both, thank you for taking my call. Yes, I'm asking a question of Dr. Usama. Does he foresee the Israeli people making the Hezbollah surrender? I'll hang up.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Brother Jim. What's the question again?
Yeah, about getting Hezbollah to surrender. Do you see that taking place?
Well, believe it or not, the people of Lebanon right now are standing in unity. Majority of them, we just did talk about it in our broadcast for Friday's show, against the Hezbollah, because they don't want Hezbollah to bring blood shed in Lebanon. They're not Lebanese. Hezbollah is a Muslim jihad. They have nothing to do with Lebanon. They invaded Lebanon, the last Christian country in the Muslim world. This is number 56. If you want to count Gaza as number 57, and the people of Lebanon don't want anything to do with Hezbollah. We can remove Hezbollah from Lebanon if we can have some unity. But the problem is, once again, we're divided here. Therefore, the people of Lebanon cannot be free from Hezbollah as well.
Let's go next to Tony. Hi, Tony. You're on the air.
Hey, Jim. I wanted to reiterate a comment that I made to you a couple of years ago, and you didn't know where I was going with this. First, I'd like to say that the days look awfully dark, like we may end up getting hunted down like wild boars. And the comment was in regards to the Bob Seger song about Against the Wind, and I wish I didn't.
Tony, let's just stay with our topic today. Okay, get right to our topic, right to your point.
That's it. That was
okay. Thank you. We've got Eric in Texas. Eric, you're on the air. Eric, go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay, thank you. We've got
okay, Eric, turn the radio down, please. You are on the air.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had any kind of problem with Trump basically committing war crimes in this war.
Okay, in what way, Eric?
Trying to wipe out an entire nation.
Okay, and we did address that earlier. Thank you, Eric, for that.
I'll say, Brother Jim, something quickly here. For those who think that Mr. Trump is doing something wrong for removing these savage Muslim jihadi from power in the country of Iran, if you rejected that, you become a person with no morality whatsoever. Why? Because if we have the power to defend the people of Iran, over 75 million, from these savage jihadi, terrorist-controlled freak people, then you are not a Christian, period. I think sometimes war is good. Sometimes war to get rid of bad people. Or why in the world we have zoos in America where you have lions and vicious animals inside the zoo? Why don't we just let all the vicious animals free in America to eat our children and our grandchildren? This is nonsense. People rejecting the work of Trump without knowing how good that is. That's why, as our caller who came earlier, I wish the people of America can see the celebration of the people of Iran for the freedom, even though they are lost so much of their country with this bombing.
Fred is next in Wisconsin. You're on the air.
Hi. I had a question about the people of Iran being persecuted by the terrorists. How can the U.S. help them other than just pray for them? That's my question.
How can you help the people of Iran?
Yeah, how can the U.S. help? In other words, support them so that they overthrow the regime.
Well, it's very simple, brother. If we have some unity in America, this can be ended. This can be ended anytime. But you see, this country is divided, and even some callers think that Trump is committing crime to free a nation. What unbelievable comments. But if we can remove Khomeini and his people, as we, under Carter, put them in power of that country in 1979, we can remove them from power today, and the people of Iran will be a moderate country, and they will have freedom for even women to walk in the street without being beaten if some of her hair show up, and people can be a Christian and go to church and worship Jesus Christ without being burned or persecuted or being arrested or being even raped. I have some reports from Christian men right now in Iran who are telling me some Christian men have been raped and been put to death, and the only free one to go tell the story. So this can be ended if the American can be united to fight the evil of Islam by the leaders of Islam in Iran.
Thank you, Fred, for your call here. And I know that there are mission organizations that are doing what they can to get the gospel in. Certainly a very tentative situation right now with what's taking place. But there are those who have contacts. I think of, mission organizations like the Baptist International Evangelistic Ministries, baptistinternational.org, and through their, not just Ukraine relief, but that of Central Asia, Voice of the Martyrs, the Friends of Israel Gospel Ministry, getting into that region as well. So be praying that the word of God would go forth in such a time as this. We've got callers all stacked up here, so we'll get to more of your phone calls. Usama Dakdak with us today. His website, thestraightway.org. Thestraightway.org. Back in a minute.
For the Worldview Report, I'm Brandon House. Our website is worldviewtube.com. President Trump on Resurrection Sunday put out a tweet. I didn't appreciate some of the language he used, but he did close it when talking about attacking Iran. Praise be to Allah. And many took that as mocking Islam. Tucker Carlson now has come out and condemned President Trump for doing just that, mocking Islam. But wait a minute. Tucker Carlson, does he not have a long history of mocking Christianity or allowing his guests to do so, claiming that things like the idea of the rapture or dispensationalism is somehow a heresy or made up or created, or that the covenants of God found in Genesis chapter 15 are not for today, somehow making God a liar? Tucker Carlson has no moral high ground by which to say someone should not mock someone else's faith. I think he's made a living doing that. I'm Brandon House.
Taking your questions for our guest here today on Crosstalk, 800-733-9829. Usama Dakdak is with us, thestraightway.org, his website. Several callers lined up from Kentucky. We have Raymond calling from Kentucky. Hi, Raymond, you're on the air.
Yes, Brother Jim. I've been listening to Brother Dakdak there about them being loyal to one another, not loyal to anybody else, lying to everybody else. I think that President Trump needs to go in there and take all their infrastructure out, and that way it would give them something to do besides trying to rebuild a nuclear bomb to annihilate Israel over there, and probably us if they could get one to us.
Raymond, thank you for that. Would Iran use a nuclear bomb against their enemies, Usama?
They're going to use it first against Israel, second against us. If they can bring it all the way somewhere near us and use it against us. These people are not playing games. They're not bluffing. They are dreaming because they believe in Islam, Brother Jim. If you believe in Muhammad, and Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, gave a prophecy that they will kill the last Jew on earth, that means they're going to kill the Jewish of America. They're planning to control the whole entire world. What the Sunni could not do, the Shia would do through Iran as their nuclear bomb. And if they have the nuclear bomb, for sure, that is what they were aimed to do.
We have William in Florence, Kentucky. William, you're on the air.
Yeah, Jim, I just want to make a real fast question with your. Would it be good for Americans to give the good Iranians that want to take over their country guns? I just wanted to ask that question.
Yes and no. Yes, because they needed to defend themselves. No, they have never been able to fight with guns. If you give the Irani 80% the guns, it will be a great civil war, and that country would be destroyed from within. It would never survive again.
Yeah.
And I don't think this will happen.
Yeah, and so you wouldn't see that as being the way to go here. Thank you. Clifford in Kentucky, you're on the air.
Yes, the Muslims who want to hurt, kill, and eliminate us, they're required to lie to fulfill Muhammad's mission, and they're not radical. They are mainline fundamentalists. When you're a Christian, you want to be mainline, it means you adhere to the T, what you believe.
Right.
And that's they need to stop using this radical term on the entire nation. They are not radical. The radical ones are the ones who do not abide by this killing, maiming, and eliminating anything non-Muslim.
Thank you, Clifford. And Usama, you've spoken to that issue many times.
Yeah, there is no such a thing as moderate Muslims or moderate Islam. There is radical, extreme, fundamental Muslim believers, and there is hypocrites. Those who do not fight for the sake of Allah, those who will not support the jihad, these are the hypocrites. And they will be in hell number 7, no kidding. As for the good Muslims, the believers, the radicals, the extremists, and the fundamentalists, these are the ones who obey the word of Allah and the command of Muhammad, which is to perform jihad for the sake of Allah.
Again, friends, and someone mentioned about Ghana, it's not a flesh and blood battle. It is really a spiritual battle that's going on, and that deals with the matter of Islam, does it not?
Absolutely. Well, to us, it's a spiritual war. To the Muslim, it's a physical war, and they think they will win it physically against Israel, and that is a big mistake.
We've got Mike calling from Marshfield, Wisconsin. Mike, you're on the air.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. My question is this. No matter how successful we are in taking out the present leadership in Iran, and I think President Trump's action is justified, will Russia and China help them rebuild to fulfill Ezekiel 38 and 39? And Usama, how long do you think that would take?
Only God knows the hour and the time of his coming, and obviously we do not know when this will take. But I don't believe Israel or America will wipe out Iran, because Iran has to be a strong country. If they can wipe it out, that will make me believe that the coming of Christ will be pushed for at least another 50 or more years, because they need all these years for Iran to come back to power. But if they did not lose power, that means it could happen any time.
Iran, part of Bible prophecy, and so thank you for the call here, Mike. And final call today will be from Ryan in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ryan, you're on the air.
Hi, yeah. Does the U.S. have a partial blame to this? Because the predecessor to all this was the Shah of Iran, and he was installed by the U.S., and he wasn't very good, which led to revolution, and which we have now. The predecessor to him wanted to nationalize the oil, and nobody wanted that, and that's why the U.S. meddled and installed the Shah of Iran. So do you think that the U.S. has some sort of blame in this?
Yeah, absolutely.
For the current regime?
Thank you.
Absolutely, Brother Jim. I believe we should be blamed for making Khomeini in power in the country of Iran, like make the Muslim Brotherhood in power under Obama in Egypt or any other country. Whenever we put the evil one in control or in power, we should be blamed for it. But what is so amazing, we're living in the end of the days where we call good evil and evil good. Not one person in America, liberals, said that what Jimmy Carter did in Iran was wrong. But now they think to fix that problem, we should be blamed for it by Mr. Donald Trump, that is wrong. I mean, literally, that is a great sign. We are in the end of time to call evil good and good evil.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan, for the call. We're out of time on the broadcast today. Usama Dakdak with us, and yes, at one time, Iran did have a good relationship with the United States, and is there culpability with the U.S.? Certainly there have been errors that the U.S. has made, as Usama has just pointed out. Usama, we're down to just less than a minute. What would you like to leave with our listeners today?
I wish for all the Christians of America, first of all, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the peace of Israel, and God's will to be done. To pray for Mr. Trump, that God gave him wisdom to make the right decision. In my flesh, I want to do so many things which is wrong. I know it's not right, but if the Spirit of God will lead our president and his team, they will do the right thing. And I do not know that we're going to change God's plan, but if we are seeking God with our heart and our mind and soul, he will be honored and will be blessed in our life, in our country as well.
Usama, thank you so much for being with us today. And appreciate it. The website, thestraightway.org, thestraightway.org. Indeed, friends, has God's God, what he has before ordained, indeed will come to pass, and Scripture will be fulfilled, and the very prophecies that come through the Word of God. Until such times, we continue to stay vigilant. We understand that we are to be sober, to be vigilant. Our adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. What an important time to share the good news of the gospel in such a time as this. God bless you, friends. Continue to pray for our president and those in leadership. Pray for our leaders, and pray that God would be glorified. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Crosstalk via satellite and the internet from VCY America. Views expressed may or may not be those of this station. For a CD of today's program, send a donation of $6 or more to VCY Take Ministry, 3434 West Kilbourne Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53208, or download by RSS or podcast from crosstalkamerica.com. And join us again for Crosstalk.